Guess I need to turn on the microphone. I'm going to call the commission meeting to order, and Commissioner Baker will give an invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Hi. Can we stand, please? And I'll pray, and then we'll say our pledge. Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and your blessings. We thank you, Father, for all that you have done for us. We ask, God, that you be with us tonight, that we make the decisions we make, and lead, God, and direct us. In Christ's name, amen. Let us pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Present.
Commissioner Garver,
Here.
Commissioner White,
Like it's on.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Mayor Lamb.
Here.
So-
In your packet, you had the minutes from our October 25 workshop. Is there anything we need to add or take away?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yay.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. That was our workshop. Pardon for the misstatement. You had our November 1 commission meeting minutes. Anything we need to add or take away?
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Now's the time we have set aside for comments from our citizens. And if you wish to share with us, approach the microphone, give us your name and your address. Seeing none, we'll go on with unfinished business, which there is none. And so we'll move to our new business, and we have our 2021 audit report. So we'll let you come up and tell us how good we are.
Thank you. Is it all right if I stand over here?
It is, as long as they can all hear you.
Okay, I'll speak loudly so everybody can hear me, which is not a problem for me, because I like to talk. I want to go over audit report with y'all. Y'all got, and I think y'all know this and expect this because of the standards y'all hold. You got the clean audit opinion, which is what you want to have. That's the unqualified opinion. The report numbers are in here, and I'm just going to hit the highlights. Anybody who has questions later on, they're welcome to ask me. But if y'all will turn in your report to page number 6, it's the center of the bottom page. Go to page 6, and we'll start there. And these are comparative statements, and it's the only where it ends this report. You have comparative of June 30th, 20 with June 30th, 21. And if you look on the two left-hand columns, oh, no, okay. I'll stand over here. Okay. For the,
You can use this one.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome to use this one if you'll move it that way so you can lean.
Oh, thank you. Can I,
You can use either one of them.
okay. Let me just do that. Is that
Just for our recording, we have to
Yeah.
have them, yeah.
Okay. I can see the reports better here. Okay, if you look on page 6, the two left-hand columns is 2020 and 2021. You'll see our assets went from $28,800,000 to $29 million. So their assets are up. If you come down there and the liabilities, and this is the big thing with this city, is our liabilities were $7.3 million at 20. They're $6.3 million in 21. So while our assets have gone up slightly, our liabilities went down $1 million. Under the business type activities, which business type activities are the airport and the sewer. If you look at the top of the page, the assets both years were $16,500,000. They're up just slightly in 21. But again, look at the liabilities. They were $3.7 million at the end of 20, and they were $2.8 million at the end of 21. So again, they're down almost $1 million right there. So those are both great things to look at. If you turn the page over to the next page, page number 7, and this is what everybody understands the easiest. If you look at the left-hand column, you can see we took in $12,873,000. We spent $11,570,000. And so we made $1.3 million last year in the general government operations. So we are doing great. This gives us money on hand that we can do projects with, different things. So it's a huge help for the future to have those kind of numbers. We'd made $1.2 million the year before under the business type activities, sewer and airport, to get combined up here. But you can see we took in $3.5 million. We spent $2.3 million. So we have $1,112,000, net gain in those two funds together. So both great numbers to look at. Okay, if you're going to flip over again, we are in right now on page 4 through 13 is management discussions and analysis. And it's a good thing for the people that don't like math to read these letters, numbers, and pie charts. But of course, I love math and I love the columns of numbers. So that's what I talk about. If you go over to page 14, if you look at page 14, you'll again see those same numbers that we looked at earlier on the first page on page 6, but a lot more detail there. And you can see in total on the right-hand column, our total assets were $45 million. And you come down there under total liabilities, $9 million. So we've got we got about 5 times the number of liabilities that we got assets. 5 times the number of assets we got liabilities. So a really good ratio of 5 to 1 there. On page 15, and this is the only page that's crooked in the report, but it's required to be this way. You can see they said we want to look at the government as if it was standing on its own without taxes. So if you go all the way across the page on the top right-hand side, you can come down and see we would actually be in a deficit of $9,361,000 except for taxes that come in. And of course, all governments run off of taxes. So we took in $11,777,000 in taxes. And so we ended up having that $2.4 million of profit that we talked about before. We had $1.3 million in governmental activities. We had 1.1 in the business type activities. So just huge numbers, great looking numbers. We're so proud of this. Okay, if you go on now to page 18, the first 15 pages of the report are all on an accrual basis of accounting, which is like what a business would use. But then they said they want to look at it also on a cash basis because governments need to watch their cash so carefully, not necessarily y'all, but a lot of governments do. And even if you look at these general fund activities on a cash basis, we made $1.3 million on a full accrual basis. We still made $1 million on a cash basis. So no matter which way you look at it, we're doing great. So that's really good news. On page 26 and 27, 26 and 27. This is I talked about the business type activities. And if you want to look at if you want to look at sewer and airport separately, we divided it out here for y'all. You can see under the sewer fund, we have $11 million worth of assets, and you come down under liabilities, we got $2.8 million. So real good ratio there. And the airport, we've got $5 million of assets, and we've only got $35,000 of liabilities. So, that is great. Now, the airport is real capital intensive, the land and the runways and all that stuff so most of the money in the airport is what I call spent money. It's on all the capital improvements out the airport. They've got $463,000 in current assets, but most of it's already spent. And again, you can look on the page 27 on the third line up from the bottom, the change of net assets, which is what a business will call a profit. The sewer fund made $699,000 and the airport made $413,000. And it is especially important with these type activities that they make some money, because if you're in a sewer and you just break even, you will never have room to expand the sewer, to improve the sewer system. The airport, if you just break even, you'll never have money to improve the airport. So it's important that they make money. But anyway, I'm glad to see they did. So that's good. That's good. The The other thing I do report on, because people tend to overlook it, if you go back to page 50, this is talking about our net pension liability. The city pays in money every year to the TCRS, the pension plan. They invest the money and then they pay out the beneficiaries, but the actuaries calculate the future liability out there, what we'll have to pay out in the future. And they always are a year behind. So we're looking at June 30th of 2020. So on page 50, you see it right there in the right-hand column. The actuaries calculated that we are right now $47,000 behind and where we should be, which is just phenomenal. You know, most cities are way behind. We're almost at a break even. 47,000 is not a big number to Collegedale at all. So that's really good news. And then on page 52, we got the OPEB liability, which is future benefits we've promised employees, and there is no fund to cover that. We just pay that as we go. But the actuaries calculated, it was on page 52, $1,137,000 liability for that. So that'll be paid out somewhere in the future. Okay. Okay. Now, Tim asked me specifically, he said, what are the findings? Go back to page 87. No, go the other way, Tim.
Oh, 87?
87.
All right.
Okay. Under, keep going.
I got it.
It's the next to last page. On page 87, under internal control deficiencies, I think these are my favorite words, none disclosed. And under material noncompliance, it says no instances of noncompliance. That is as good as you can get. And what is especially proud of that, if you look at page 88, which we got to put under prior year findings, it says no prior year audit findings. So that means the last 2 years in a row, we've had no findings. That's just excellent. And that is not a result of what I've done, but the result of what these people back here have done. And so you ought to be really proud of the accounting staff here. They have done a great job. Okay. Congratulations to them.
Are there any questions for him?
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you for the good report. And Michelle, thank you, and Ashley very much for what you do for us.
She works hard for us, that's for sure.
Really does.
Thank you.
So, okay, we can move on. Tonight we have the first reading of Ordinance 1103. Would you read the caption for that, please?
An ordinance to amend the official zoning ordinance of Collegedale, Tennessee by adding a 0-lot line townhouse zoning district.
This is coming from the Planning Commission, and hopefully Mr. Andrews will help us answer any questions.
Thank you. Good evening. As you did mention, Mayor, this did come through the Planning Commission. Recently, it was in November, and it is a recommendation to adopt a townhouse zone for the city, and it would be an amendment to the zoning ordinance adding this to it. We do not have anything similar currently. Our peers do in Chattanooga, the city of Chattanooga does, and Hamilton County does, and then some of our other smaller city peers do have such a mechanism to have fee simple townhouses without having to go through the PUD process, planned unit development process, that will allow that. And what was happening is that in order to build a fee simple townhouse where you own the lot underneath it, that required an R3 rezoning, and then we would have to condition out all the other uses that would not necessarily be appropriate in that location that the R3 zoning would allow. So this is a more elegant approach, I think, and it is like a PUD in that the site plan, there's a site plan requirement. So it is a case of you get what they present, it's reviewed and it's approved based on that site plan. including landscaping and design.
Okay.
So as I understand it, it basically doesn't change what we do here. It just makes it much, much easier for the process to move forward.
It makes it easier.
Right.
It's more streamlined, and the commission, it's a new zone. It's not placed anywhere on the zoning map at this point, since it doesn't exist. But once it does exist, you would have the discretion like you would with any other rezoning request.
At the same time, you put a lot of conditions on the rezoning, you could create a potential legal problem too. So if you're inclined to have this kind of development in Collegedale, like Kelly suggests, is a good idea.
And the rule of thumb is that if you have if you're using your existing zoning and you have to load it up with conditions, as Sam mentions, the problem is generally going to be with your zoning ordinance. You know, you shouldn't have that many conditions.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a question. Then we could take a vote. You call it a district, and it's just so that we all understand, we currently have a land use plan.
Correct.
Will part of that land use plan include an area that this would be just townhouses, or would it be any 2-acre lot? I believe that was what it was, the area that was designated, that it had to be the minimum.
Correct. Under single ownership.
Right. So will a part of that land use plan say this area is the only area that townhouses will be constructed?
No, it would not. In fact, the land use plan it's already adopted now would simply, the language that going forward, if with new land use plan updates, we could be more specific with some of the language where it's appropriate. But right now, the land use plan already accommodates this. It does mention zoning appropriateness and development types and density. So if this density falls within that category that's already existing in the land use plan, it would be perfectly reasonable to contemplate using the townhouse zone in those locations. So we already have those within the land use plan. At that time, there was no way to use this product, this kind of development type. And like I said, it would be what's called moderate density development. It's not high density development. It would be moderate. And that's what we're seeing a lot of demand for, is something more like the Barnsley Park townhomes, but they would be a standalone development instead of a part of a larger subdivision like that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay.
Thank you.
Our next item is the MOU for the Collegedale Police Department and the Regional Organized Crime Information Center.
This MOU is not a new agreement for our agency. This is more of an administrative housekeeping, just due to the administration change with me being chief. They just need the MOU with my signature. We've had a great partnership over the years with ROCIC. Use them for special, obviously, criminal intelligence gathering, special data forensics, special equipment we may need in special investigations. So it's nothing new to the department. It just needs to be updated with my signature.
Okay,
Move to approve.
Second.
we have a motion and a second for approval. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Our next item also deals with the police department. It's a purchase agreement with Axon. Axon, is that how?
Axon, yes, ma'am.
Enterprise.
Axon manufactures taser products. As we were working through the budget this year and getting ready to purchase equipment, I realized that our status, if you will, of our current taser devices needs a lot of attention. So just to kind of give you an idea, we had budgeted right at around $13,000 for taser equipment this year. If we spend that $13,000 this year, that would essentially allow us to only purchase 5 or 6 new taser devices, a handful of training cartridges, and it would kind of be putting a Band-Aid on the problem for now. We really need to upgrade and replace all of our current taser technology. So in working with Axon, they actually offered this bundle plan, if you will. that allows us to have a fixed rate, if you will, over the next 5 years. It'll supply us with 26 brand-new tasers, brand-new technology. It also includes all our training equipment, all our cartridges, all our batteries, all the software stuff we need to store data on usage and evidence tracking. The way, if this is approved, as you should have all this, but bundling it this way will save the city about $28,000 over the next 5 years, as opposed to, 10,000 this year, 15,000 next year, 20,000 the year after that. And it'll allow us to have kind of one consolidated line item. We know we'll have everything we need for usage in the field and for training. And then in addition, we're going to keep about 5 or 6 of what we currently have, the newest ones. And then once we take possession of the new products, Taser is actually going to work with us to buy our old product back, which is not even under warranty, most of them. And they're guesstimating that's going to be about $8,000 back to the city.
Okay, any questions?
So is the 13,000 what we're going to pay over the next 5 years?
So the first year is $12.99
Okay.
and that was because we had budgeted right at 13,000 in this year's budget. So to make this work, they agreed to take 13,000 for the first year's payment. And then after that, for the next 4 years, it'll be $17,100 and some change for the next 4 years.
And then our budget will reflect that in future years. But we've got this covered this year.
Yes, the 13,000 for the first year is in the budget.
And how many tasers will we have in the
We
new
will have-
program?
We will have 26 brand new tasers,
Yeah.
and then we'll keep 5 or 6 for reserves to use, and then just spares.
Okay, any other questions?
One other question. If we decide to go ahead and get the reserves, the same tasers y'all have, to me, consistency. Is there much difference in the tasers between the taser we have today and the new Axon?
There's not a whole lot of difference. It's just the Taser 7s is the newest technology. The ones we're keeping that'll be available to the reserves or just a year or two old. It's just the Taser 7s allow for some different cartridges to be used. I'm not an expert, but it's more focused technology and how the energy is deployed to the body, different things. But it's technological difference, but not a huge difference in what will be available to the reserves. For most of the reserves, they'll be getting an upgrade to what they're using now already. So
Okay.
it'll be new to them, I guess.
So,
Do we need to have a motion?
move to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for this contract for the police department. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay,
Thank you.
thank you. Now we have reports from the city manager.
Nothing to add this evening.
Wow. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
really.
Come on, man.
You got a date.
If-
I mean, after the audit, I feel like we should still.
They're walking on clouds, right?
I think
Let 'em
so.
go.
I think so.
Get on the watch tonight.
And they deserve it, I think.
They do.
So, okay, Commissioner Garver?
I got a couple things. The Christmas banners up on the poles look really good. Adds a lot to our community's Christmas spirit. Appreciate that very much, Eric. Tractor event went really nice last night. I think the weather in the morning hampered some of the turnout, but the people that came had a blast, and the little kids were running around like they owned the whole town. So it was fun. A great event. And I'd like to say, last week's Kiwanis meeting, Natalie from the library came over. And I tell you what, she impressed the gentlemen, leaders in our community with what's going on in the library. And we should all be very proud of that and talk about that. There's so many good things going on in this community. It's easy to forget some of them, but we're going to keep trying to get more and more of our people involved in community involvement like that, so we can spread the good news. And Natalie did a great job. So
Yeah.
that's all.
Commissioner Baker?
No, yes.
Vice Mayor?
And to tag on, I will tell you, it's interesting sitting here and reading what the police does on social media, as well as Public Works, as well as Parks and Rec. So I think that's a great update for the city, and I think a lot of people are looking at it. I hear comments, some negative, some positive, and a lot more positive than negative. But I'm just glad we're doing that. We're getting our face out there to the social media group, and thanks for all the hard work, Chief and Eric. In the airport, I haven't seen a whole lot on the airport lately. Maybe I've missed that. I try to look as much as I can. I sometimes have to go out there and search for things. If you don't look at things a certain amount of times, it seems like they fall to the back of the list of what you get to see. So I think we're doing a great job. And Michelle and Ashley does a great job on the audits as well. So I know you put a lot of hard work into it. So thank you very much. That's all.
If you noticed in the paper today, there is all of the dates for our meetings for next year. So you can go ahead and put them on your calendar.
So what's going to happen next year? You know, they're
We're
doing,
going to be here every Monday night.
I know we are. But you know, I'm concerned about the elderly. A lot of people don't have social media or Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And this iPad technology that they're trying to rent out.
Oh, you mean with
for
the
the newspaper.
newspaper? Let me tell you,
My
I
dad's
have-
one of those, and I'm just struggling.
I have the pad already, and my husband won't have anything to do with it. He
It's-
likes that newspaper in his hand.
My dad and mom never had internet for the most part, so
I think it's going to be difficult, but they have the ads in there, so, it's just like they have access to it if they'll just look at it. But I do think that their readership may really fall.
yeah, they told Dad that he could have a paper on Sundays. They're still going to print
Yeah.
a paper, but it was like $34 a month.
It's $34 whether you have the pad or not, if you want the Sunday paper. So it's quite expensive.
It is. So I'm going to go
For-
to Walmart or
for
someplace and
retirement people.
pay $2 or $2.50 and take it to his house.
So,
That's all I have.
did you have something you wanted to say,
I
Sam?
just wanted to say that it's a modern problem that we've had a discussion in the last few days that Christie's been in. Actually, it came from Christie relative to the fact that the law requires certain things to be published in a newspaper. Does the digital format fit the publication requirements? And right now, we don't think it does, but you have alternatives like that Sunday paper or the Hamilton County Herald, which we've been discussing. So, but it's created a new problem. Solved one for the paper, but it's creating new problems for everybody else.
And you really have to get out there early if you're only going to do it on Sundays.
Yeah.
And
It's more expensive. And we, the Small Cities Coalition is going to actually discuss that and bring it up with our legislatures first of the year to make them aware of the problem that's created.
I already spoke to Senator Watson on Saturday, and he didn't hold out a lot of hope
So,
because there are interests against it, believe it or not.
Paper mills. One more, I found out this weekend that District 10, I hadn't really kept up with that, but there's some folks running for commissioners of District 10, and it's nice to have a conversation with them. And I think it'll do us all well to find out who wants to represent us in the county seat. So I think that's something that we'll need to keep up with as we move forward.
on the January workshop, I've asked I've asked Christie to put on Jeff Ebersol because he has met with me, and he would like to meet with everybody so that we can get acquainted. So if there's others, we can have them come the same night or whatever.
We need to make sure they're all welcome.
Yeah.
They're all welcome, yeah.
But Jeff is the only one that has talked to me that I know of that's running for District 10.
And District 10 is all of Collegedale. We're not segregated. So,
No,
and it's passed. So
we're finally back in our one district.
We should probably have a discussion on what politicians and people running for office we're going to have at workshops, because I've already had interest expressed from most judge candidates and mayoral candidates, and we could very easily turn around with a dozen people that want to come speak.
Yeah. I've had more coffee in the last 3 to 4 weeks than I have for a long time because they call me, want to meet with the mayor and have coffee. Again, Thursday morning I have with somebody.
You should have been at the fire hall in Saudi Daisy on Saturday. There are more politicians there than there were natives.
I saw a bunch of Harleys out there. Was that a different?
I think that was a different thing. Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Well, I'll hear a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Move it.
We're adjourned.